American Embassy back in Jerusalem.
The American Embassy back in Jerusalem.
Go, Big Red. Go, Big Red. Let's hear it. Go,
Come on,
Big
Blue
Red.
Team. Come on, now.
Go, Big Red. Let's
It's
hear
looking
it.
live out there, Blue Team. Let's play some defense now. Come on, D up. I don't care what you think about me. I'll be just fine. I don't care if your eyes ever see or you stay flying. I'm trying to be the light beneath the light, and I'm gonna try. Here we go. Now, I got something on my mind and it's been bothering me for some time. So now I'm gonna hear the deaf and see the blind and hope I find the lesson to the message in my rhyme. You see, if I speak honestly or emphatically and I say one little thing that's negative about the president, then automatically I gotta be a resident of the other side. Why? That's absurd. The left wing and right wing are on the same bird. Huh. Red team, blue team, we need a fucking new team. Donald J. Trump's part of the same old routine. Behavior. Trump is not Q. Q is not a savior. What the fuck's he gave you? Some clues? Kept you confused? Q is just a part of the illusion, the confusion, not the solution. If Q knows the truth, then why's he gotta hide it in a clue? So you stay undecided and more divided. I don't buy it. You know what I trust? I trust the pandemic. I don't care what you think about me, I'll be just fine. I don't care if your eyes ever see or you stay blind. I'm trying to be the light beneath the light, and I'm gonna try. Helter skelter, shelter in place. Social distancing is not enough space for these noble moguls to piss in our face. It's a disgrace. Nobody fights back, nobody bites back. And once they're gone, no, we ain't getting our rights back. Why is that? Cause we acted like a bunch of soft bitches. Call up the cops if your neighbor got a cough, stitches, wind up in ditches. I hope I get to slam these Hollywood witches when they burning in hell. But right now I can tell we still under the spell. We fell. If you don't take pause and recognize your cause, they're coming for your balls. Red flag laws, government teeth and claws. I don't want my taxes paying for no fucking vaxes that they fast track. Cue up the laugh track, grab you up a knapsack with some provisions, because we got some decisions to make about our future, of our nation, and what we're facing. Contact tracing, legal interrogation, one PlayStation under God, indivisible with liberty and justice for none. Have they won? No, not yet, but they're close to completing the lobotomy. With precision into scalpels of division, they make the incision the false dichotomy. And it's gotten me feeling animosity toward the aristocracy. I want the blood of the royal elite to flood the street and irrigate the field. How dare you motherfucking pigs bang on your shields? Nobody died when Kaepernick kneeled. I don't care what you think about me, I'll be just fine. I don't care if your eyes ever see or you stay flying. I'm trying to be the light beneath the light, and I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try. Democracy, and I'm gonna try. Turn into a technocracy. Before our very eyes, I'm gonna try. Government only exists, I'm gonna try, because we allow it to. I'm gonna try. In our minds, I'm gonna try.
What's up, everybody? How y'all doing? Hopefully everything's working okay so far. It looks like the audio is working pretty good, although the color is looking a little bit more washed out than normal. That's strange. Maybe it's because no? I don't know. Anyway, I hope everybody had a great weekend. Mine was semi-fun. We went to a couple yard sales and estate sales. And hopefully we'll be making a little bit of money on the side. Boy, the news has been on fire, though, over the last few days. So I was trying to play a little catch-up today on that because on the weekends I kind of try to not pay attention. That's one of my favorite things to do on the weekends. Because if you watch the news long enough or you're involved in the news long enough, it'll make you go mad. That's why I don't really watch Fox News that much anymore. I used to, when I had cable, would watch like most of the day. I'd just have it on and I'd be doing my own thing, and but I could hear it, and every once in a while I'd come in front of the TV and just veg out for a while and hear the same story 20 different times in an hour, 20 times in a day. What's up, Riddle Girl?
Hey.
How you doing?
Good.
Did you have a good weekend?
Yeah.
You ready to sell some stuff on eBay?
Gosh, I hope it freaking sells.
Yeah, we spent a little too much. So.
Got some really cool stuff though, and I did get questions about one of the items from the teacher.
Yeah. There was some passports from Germany, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yep, there you go. So that's what we were doing. So here in Arizona, where I am currently located, it looks like that we're going to be shut down yet again. Now, I got wind of this from Broken Patriot. He's all on top of the Arizona news. And I don't really watch TV, local or national, so that's probably part of the reason why. Oh, well, maybe that changed it up a little bit. Maybe it's the lighting. So, Arizona to close bars, gyms, theaters again, delay start of school. Here we go again. He's issuing a new executive order. Ducey announces 2 executive orders on Monday in the state's effort to curb the surge of the C virus cases in Arizona. A 1-month pause. One of the executive orders is a 1-month pause that will force the closure of bars, gyms, movie theaters, water parks, and tubing rentals. Oh, you can't go down the Salt River. That's a thing that people do here in Phoenix area, is they rent intertubes and go down a river and risk their lives to have a good time. I've done it a couple times, and I don't want to ever do it again. Effective at 8 p.m. Monday, so currently effective, Governor Ducey said this closure will help relieve stress on the healthcare system and give time for new transmission to slow. I call bullshit. The order also prohibits gatherings of 50 or more people, even if there is a social distancing. So, goodbye churches. And once again, Ducey said enforcement will be led by local authorities and public health officials. Wow. Groups of more than 10 will also be prohibited at community, apartment, and private pools. So they're going to limit like barbecues?
Well, what if you have more than 10 people that live in your household?
Well, there's a lot of people that have more than 10 that live in their household around here. This is a global pandemic and is affecting all of our states, and Arizona is not alone right now in terms of where we are on record cases and record hospitalizations. I don't know. Starting immediately, Arizona Department of Liquor License and Control will cease issuing special event licenses between the 29th and the 27th of June. I guess they were giving like permission to have parties at bars? I don't know. So yeah, that's what's going on here. But at the same time, we have this guy, Mountainside Fitness CEO, plans to sue Arizona after Ducey issued a 30-day closure. So good on him. Mountainside Fitness CEO and founder Tom Hayton announces that his company is planning to sue Arizona Governor Doug Ducey after he ordered a 1-month pause that will consist of the closures of businesses like gyms, bars, and movie theaters on Monday. The executive order is an effort to slow down the spread of C-19. Hayton held a news conference on Mountainside Fitness location in Paradise Valley on Monday to further explain the decisions to take legal action. Now, with 5 hours notice, because yeah, he gave 5 hours notice. That was today. Being the oldest health club business in Arizona, celebrating our 29th year here, we were given 5 hour notice, said Hayton, while taking to local news outlets at the press conference. Crazy. So that's the local news here. Oops, that's not what I wanted to get to just yet. So we are going to get to this couple. Thought I had, oh wait, I do. Nope, that's later on. Oh, I got two of the same. I'm missing one. All right, so have you guys heard about this story? I'm sure you have, of the white couple, because that was like the first thing a lot of the news channels described, was that it was a white couple. In fact, let me find. Give me 1 second. I want to find what I'm missing here. I think it was the New York Times. Washington Post, maybe? Let's bring that over here. Okay. And it won't let me do it. Alright, well you guys know about what's going on with that. But we're going to watch this video a little bit about it.
Welcome back, everybody. I can assure you that when I woke up this morning, I had no intentions of making this video.
What's up, Quasar?
But
How you
throughout
doing?
the day, things have kind of gotten crazy. So, again, woke up today. Normal day.
Turns out that
the
couple
internet,
are
Instagram,
saying they
Facebook,
support
etc. And this video
BLM.
of a couple in St. Louis. The man having an A2 like this, and the woman having some sort of pistol.
Yeah, like a 25 caliber pistol. They
protecting
live
the
in a
house from
mansion.
some protesters
He's got
or
some
rioters, depending on how you
Vietnam
look at it,
era
who had
semi-automatic
broken into
rifle,
a
and she's
gated
got
community
this little
to,
pocket Saturday Night
go to the
Special.
mayor's house, a private property gated
And
community.
oh, the
So,
trigger control. Or
there's some questionable gun handling, which we'll get to
Yeah.
here in just a second in the video. And I
But at the
noticed
same
again, the guy
time,
had
I'm
an
not-
A2. I have an A2.
I'm not really
I have
sweating
a
that.
pink shirt. I have khakis.
Actually, you know what? I don't want to listen to him. After all, sorry about that. He does go into detail. He also talks about how he had posted a video in a pink shirt with the rifle doing his tactical shit. Where is it? I had video of it. Well, maybe it was on the Fox one. I don't see the Fox one here, so it must be. Let's see. All right, I think I found it. Armed St. Louis protesters broke iron gate, threatened couple before they drew their own guns, attorney says. So yeah, there's some cringe here, but at the same time, you can't really. I don't know. What's your guys' opinion on these guys? I'm kind of going back and forth with it. Oops, hold up. Let me pause that.
Fox News alert, breaking news from the Pentagon just now.
So, Quasar, the couple issued a statement. Yeah, I have their actual interview. We're going to get to that here in a second. So, basically, the first thing here, you see what's going on. These people were trying to get to the mayor or governor's house, right? And broke a private iron fence or a fancy fence that said private property keep out, right? So they broke into this community. And if you've seen this guy's house, it's a freaking mansion. They're both attorneys, I believe. They're unfortunately not very versed in firearm safety. As they're muzzle sweeping each other, and yeah, it's kind of brandishing, but I don't know. I've seen a couple different photos, and some of the photos definitely suggest brandishing, but at the same time, they were on their own property. And these people, I think they said there was, I forget how many they said, we might read that. For some reason, I want to say 500, but I might be wrong on that. So I'm going to wait to say that until we read it. But there's a lot of people breaking and entering into this community, this gated community. So I give them a little bit of slack on that. Should they not have muzzle swept each other? Yeah. Should they cut their fingers off the trigger? Yeah. If you have that kind of a mansion, could you afford more than a Saturday night special and a Vietnam era AR-15? Yeah. Could you afford some training? Probably. They're liberal hypocrites. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Maybe we'll find out together. I haven't really looked into it entirely yet, so that's what we're going to do. So here's the interview. As soon as it loads, the only thing that stopped the crowd was my rifle. Interview with a man who pulled out a gun amid a protest. McCloskey gave his first on-camera interview to 5 on Your Side. Now let's remember, this is taking place in Missouri, St. Louis, I believe, St. Louis, Missouri. Missouri is one of the states that were high on my list to move to as far as gun support. They're like, fuck the federal government. You can have whatever you want. We're going to protect your rights. Second Amendment means what it says, shall not be infringed. We're not outlawing the bump stocks. You do whatever you want to do with that. Constitutional carry, giving you the castle doctrine, the whole bit, right? Just everything that comes out of Missouri, I'm all about. And I've been really thinking about moving there, to be honest. It's one of the spots. We'll see how this airs out, because they are definitely being played as racist. Because the first thing people talk about is how they're rich and white. I don't think that freaking matters, but that's what they're saying. St. Louis City near Forest Park. Okay. Yeah, I'm not from that area, so I wouldn't know. But here, let's go ahead and watch this.
All right. So, Mark, thanks for giving me a few minutes. Let's just get right to it. I know you have to prepare for a mediation. Tell me what happened last night.
Hey, we came back to the house.
I know it's a wealthy area.
I don't know what time it is. I've been up ever since.
I saw the house aerial view.
We were preparing dinner. We went out to the east patio, the open porch that faces Kings Highway on one side and Portland Place Drive on the south. And we're sitting down for dinner. We heard all this stuff going on down in Maryland Plaza, and then the mob started to move up Kings Highway. When it got parallel with the Kings Highway gate on Portland Place, somebody forced the gate, and I stood up and announced that this is private property, go back. I can't remember in detail anymore. I went inside, I got a rifle. Because as soon as I said this is private property, those words enraged the crowd. And absolute horde came through the now smashed down gate, coming right at the house. I mean, my east patio was 40 feet from Portland Place Drive, and these people were right up in my face, scared to death. And then I stood out there. The only thing we said is, this is private property, go back, private property, leave now. At that point, everybody got enraged. There were people wearing body armor. One person pulled out some loaded pistol magazines and clicked them together and said, "You were next." We were threatened with our lives.
I'd like to see that video.
Burned down, my office building being burned down, even our dog's life being threatened. It was about as bad as it can get. I mean, and there was, I really thought it was storming the Bastille, that we would be dead and the house would be burned, and There was nothing we could do about it.
Well, first of all, dude, if you're waiting on your wife to help you out with that little 25 auto, good friggin' luck. You're going to be waiting for a while. Quasar, you said you want to move to the Ozarks? That's where you're headed? Why? Why don't you like Missouri? I thought, I mean, out of all the places, you know, gun-wise, it seems like they're pretty good. Maybe not in the city in Missouri, but I'm sure there's some country areas out there, isn't there? I am kind of curious of what's going to be going on in this, with all this, because there's a lot of outcry. Let's go ahead and continue.
They were coming at us.
There have been some reports on Twitter and people who say they were there that says they're saying the gate was already broken.
Yeah, that is nonsense. That is absolute nonsense. The gate was not broken. The gate was broken physically in half. Our trustees on Portland Place came out later in the night and chained it all up with an automotive tow chain, it looks like. But no, you can talk to the trustees on Portland Place that the gate was not broken in half and laying on the ground 1 second before they came in and stormed the place.
Were the protesters on your private property at any point?
Everything inside the Portland Place gate is private property. There's nothing public in Portland Place. Being inside that gate is like being in my living room. There is no public anything in Portland Place. It is all private property. And you got to appreciate that if there are 200 or 300 people, I don't know how many there were, we were told that 500 people showed up at the Lyda Crusen's house, which is not on our street, as you know. But how many of them came through Portland Place, I don't know. But it was a big crowd, and they were aggressive, wearing body armor, and screaming at us and threatening to harm us, and how they were going to be living in our house after they killed us.
And what has happened since last night and those images exploded online?
Well, I've had to turn the phones off at my office. I had to come over here last night and have the office boarded up because we're getting threats against the building, and everybody. It is interesting
Maybe you
to
should
me
get something more
that the
than
very
an
people
old
that are
AR-15.
asking the mayor to resign for doxing people have now put all of my information all over the web, everywhere in the world. Is there some hypocrisy there? You know, maybe I'm missing something. But we've had to turn off our telephones here at the office because all my lines have been going.
It's free advertising one way or the
since
other.
I got here at 10:30 last night. I am getting thousands of emails. I'm gonna have to turn
He's a
off
lawyer,
my
he knows
website.
what to say.
And it's been both threatening and encouraging because there have been a number of people who have.
See, I don't know how many states the Ozarks went through. I knew that it was in
made very direct threats of
Arkansas
against me and my family. And
You said you've received death threats?
oh God, yes,
Oh yeah, of course you're gonna get death threats. You have a gun, and you're going up against BLM. You're gonna have a lot of death threats.
Before the mob moved down Portland Place.
When you see the images online of you and your wife on the patio armed now, after the fact, what do you think?
Don't sweep your wife.
You know, we were obviously upset. My wife doesn't know anything about guns, but she knows about being scared. And she grabbed a pistol, and I had a rifle. And I was very careful. I didn't point the rifle at anybody. The only thing that stopped the crowd from approaching the house was when I had that rifle.
Disagree, sir. You pointed that gun at your wife a few times. I saw it. Maybe you didn't, aim it at your wife, but the muzzle was all over her a few times. And probably the crowd. I haven't really looked at all the video from that moment or all the different angles.
The only thing that stopped the crowd from approaching the house was when I had that rifle and I was holding it. It's the only thing that stemmed the tide. I can't blame my wife for being terrified and for doing what she could to protect what she thought was her life. It was
Well, I hope they take some courses after this and
horrible event.
get some better self-defensive
to call these people
firearms, 'cause that's
protesters
not
either.
going to do anything against
I
that
lived in the
group.
city of St. Louis for 32 years. We were
If that group was one
urban
to
pioneers
2 to
back when we
300
bought a
people,
place in 1988. and we have done everything for 32 years to improve the neighborhood place and to keep this historic neighborhood going. And it's very frustrating to see it get targeted. And of course, we've been told by the press and by Expect Us that they wanted to start targeting middle-class neighborhoods and upper-class neighborhoods and bring
you're definitely not middle class.
Their revolution outside of the cities. And we got an email from our trustees on Thursday saying that they were going to do this on Friday. We were very worried about it. When I drove to the office today, there's spray painted on one of the boarded up buildings on Maryland Plaza, slogan saying that on the board up that when we come to F stuff up, this isn't going to stop us. It's a revolution.
It's a good point, Riddle.
Any regrets about what happened?
I regret they broke in the gate. I can tell you that. I mean, I'll say this: there is
he's talking good.
Mayhem in the city every night. You never hear about it.
You definitely don't want to say, I wish I had better firepower.
Multiple deaths. No one seems
I mean, I would, but I'm not smart like that.
But
he's a lawyer, probably wouldn't share any way might hurt him.
When there are political
I mean, he's giving a statement right now. So if he then releases stuff that contradicts that statement, that would be bad.
You know, I do civil rights cases. Right now, I'm representing a young man who was assaulted by the police, who's sitting in prison right now for being involved in a car accident, after which the police came and assaulted him. So
go ahead and see if you can get some aerial views of that crowd.
I'm not some kind of extreme, anti-Black Lives Matter guy. I do these cases. I've been doing them for decades.
I'm anti-racist.
I have on the wall of my conference room, I've got an anti-slavery.
Oh, I hope it was loaded.
The abolitionist broadsheet from 1832. It's been there as long as I've owned this building. I mean, I am not the enemy of people that really care about Black lives. I'm apparently the enemy of the terrorists and the Marxists that are running this organization.
Oh, they're Marxists, all right. We got into a conversation like that earlier this weekend.
Today, what is your message to people who said they were on Portland Place peacefully protesting and that you incited?
What were they protesting? I'm sorry.
Having a firearm does not make it not a peaceful.
Today, do you have any message for the people who are saying they were peacefully protesting on your street?
Okay, first of all, why are they protesting on Portland?
Trespassing.
The mayor doesn't live there. Hang on, my cell phone's going on. The mayor doesn't live there. And when they kick in the gate, when the first thing they do is destroy private property.
Yeah, you have trespassing on that. That's castle law right there.
Shouting and threatening. This isn't a protest. It's a revolution. It's an attempt to inflict terror. That's the definition of terrorism, is to use force and violence to terrorize a population.
He's better with his words than his firearms. So,
what will your family do now with the threats against your life, your home, your business?
Well, I'm hoping that the government does seem to protect us, although I have my doubts about that. We'll struggle through the best we can. I mean, it is discouraging.
Anything else you'd like to add, Mark?
I don't think so. I just I wish that this hadn't happened last night, but I didn't ask for it. I was having dinner.
He was having dinner. Yeah. Well, hopefully this will stop.
A Central West End couple.
Don't do that. Thank you. So there you go. Good points here. He's definitely a lawyer. You can tell that. Wanted to see if.
I can't find any aerial.
No, can't find any. Okay. At least he called the Marxist out. Yeah. That is something that we need to address every chance we get, right? And we also need to remind people of the first time BLM showed their ugly face and why everybody was against BLM originally was the whole pigs in a blanket, fry them like bacon, right? And now they're trying to rebrand their message because that didn't go over too well. And now they have succeeded because if you talk bad about Black Lives Matter, you get in trouble real quick. People are getting taken off of YouTube, Facebook, Twitter for hate speech, saying that all lives matter, or saying that BLM is a racist organization or a supremacist, right? So Trump, now this is from the New York Times, so get ready for some biased bullshit, right? A day after sharing on Twitter a video with a supporter yelling, "White, you know what?" the president retweeted a tense episode in St. Louis. Now, I don't know, because I don't follow him on Twitter. So y'all, if you know this, if he actually did that part right there, I'm kind of curious, but not horribly. President Trump retweeted a video on Monday morning of a white man and a woman brandishing a semi-automatic rifle and a handgun at a peaceful black protest in St. Louis over the weekend, amplifying a scene that embodied the racial division rolling through the country. Yeah, there is a racial division, but it's not because of white people. A lot of white people, and I mean a lot of white people, including white cops, will take your side with the whole George Floyd situation. We all see that as bullshit. A lot of us even can say that there needs to be some police reform. But when you go from peaceful protest to burning shit down and looting and having all-out violence and taking over city blocks and hurting innocent people, that's when white people are like, you know what? No, I'm not about that. I will stand right next to any black person who wants me to, that wants to have Americans stand together against injustices on Americans. It's, I'd say America lives matter, but really everybody's life matters, right? But that is too much non-divisive, right? We have to have divisive shit. The media's doing it. The politicians are doing it. Everybody's trying to divide us. And there's reasons. And it's working. Amplifying a surreal scene that... Okay, I already read that. Mr. Trump's promotion of the St. Louis confrontation was the second time in 2 days that the president used his social media platforms, which he often is credited with allowing him to circumvent mainstream news outlets, to exacerbate racial divisions and Americans having been protesting police brutality and demanding social justice reforms after George Floyd. We can do that. We can do that. I just disagree on how we get to that point. They want to take over the country. A lot of them are socialists. We know a couple of them are Marxist. And I'm sure you can sprinkle in some communism in there somewhere. On Sunday, Mr. Trump, that's President Trump, retweeted a video of one of his supporters at a retirement community in Florida yelling the WP during what appeared to be an angry clash over the president and race among white residents in the community. He deleted the tweet about 3 hours after posting it, and a White House spokesman said President Trump had not heard the man make the WP statement. Still, no one in the White House, including the president himself, condemned the statement. Or the sentiment, sorry. Do you have to every single time? I don't know. In the video from the protest Sunday in St. Louis, a barefoot white man dressed in a pastel pink polo shirt. Oh, by the way, Mr. Guns and Gear, or maybe it might have been Johnny B, I forget. One of them said, is this the new Boogaloo shirt, the pink polo? Are we all going to start wearing pink polos to the gun rallies from now on? Pink polo shirt and khakis emerges from his marble mansion and appears to threaten protesters who are marching down a private residential street. A woman, also barefoot, stands next to him in a pair of black capri pants. Why are we talking about their outfits? What does their outfits have anything to do with this shit? With her finger on the trigger of a silver handgun, she points at the protesters. Yeah. I'm pretty sure they're pretty close to being on their lawn, they're already trespassing on private property in a gated community. So, yeah, I'd be drawing on them too. I would. I'd have my finger off the trigger unless they started getting closer. But, yeah, I've pointed my firearms at people on my property. Some of them knew about it and some of them didn't. The protesters were participating in a peaceful march to the home of Lydia Crewson, the Democratic mayor of St. Louis, in order to demand her resignation after she released the names and identifying details of individuals who supported defunding the police. So she doxed people that want to defund the police. So what? And it's funny how they're eating their own, right? This Democratic mayor is your best chance to get things the way you want it. And what are you doing? You're calling for her resignation. Same thing they did in Seattle. I found that hilarious as well. The group can be heard banging on drums and yelling to one another, keep moving, as they walk past the couple, threatening them with firearms. According to the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, the white couple in the video were identified as Mark T. McCloskey and Patricia McCloskey, both personal injury lawyers, so they're ambulance chasers. Nice. When reached at their home on Monday night, they said they declined to address the episode. Yeah, they waited until it was right for them, and they're definitely not going to talk to the New York Times. That's smart. They're smart. Narrative change / control. Yeah, pretty much. No America at all is what they chant. Is it? Well, I mean, we know that that's what they're trying to do. That's why they're toppling down all the monuments. That's why they're tearing down a statue of Don Knotts because he played a cop once. That's why they're going after the flag in Mississippi again. You know, they're destroying Abraham Lincoln stuff, who freed the slaves. But see, in this world, they have to destroy our history. They have to prove that America has never been good, never, not one day, right? That America has always been evil. Because if they can prove to us, which good luck trying, but if they can get us to say, you know what, America has never been great and we should not appreciate any of its history, then that's how they change it. Because then we can start over with the more just and more fair system. And that's exactly what they're going for. Real girl, I don't know, or I don't know, do pedophiles lives matter? Oh, do pedophile lives matter? Gotta troll a little. Yeah. All lives matter. It depends on what you do with it, right? Who hasn't attempted a little doxing now and then, right? Right? Just a little bit of doxing. Oh, so yeah, Trump retweeted something, and I am kind of curious about the WP thing, but not really. People are gonna do people stuff, man. You don't think there was any biased bullshit at an Obama rally? Come on. All right, so we have a shooting in Jefferson Square Park in Louisville, Kentucky. Y'all hear about this one? Yeah, this guy is now wanted for murder. Well, he's not wanted. I think they have him, right? So we're going to watch this. Yeah.
First, I want to address the clearing of the park. I know this has caused great concern and anger, but it simply had to be done given that we had a homicide in the park last night. The tents and supplies that had taken over the park created a situation that could no longer be safely handled. Now I want to give you an update on the homicide that occurred last night. Around 9 p.m., we were notified of the incident of a man shooting in the park. Deputies from the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office.
Now I really want to stress this. This is something they're not really reporting too much, or at least I haven't heard them reporting too much. The shooting suspect was wounded in the leg by gunfire from bystanders at the park who were defending themselves. CBS actually reported on a civilian, a good guy with a gun, stopping a bad guy with a gun. Now, obviously, he didn't stop him in time to save all the lives, but he saved some. I can almost guarantee it.
Responded quickly and began treating people they identified were wounded. LMPD officers arrived within 4 minutes.
4 minutes.
We will now show surveillance video.
Why
of
weren't
what
you already
transpired.
there? Just curious. Oh yeah, by the way, warning graphic content. If you're too sensitive, look away.
And we are waiting to see what
So I believe it's this guy right here.
that video is. We're not going to show it right now, just in case it does show a lot of the violence that
Yep.
may have happened last night that was caught there on that surveillance video. Right now, though, they did talk about Tyler Girth, who was the victim last night of the shooting. He was 27 years old.
The man, who is believed to be the primary aggressor in this incident, is currently in police custody at the hospital. We are conferring with the Commonwealth Attorney's Office on appropriate charges to be filed.
Doesn't he look special?
This man had been participating in the protests since they began, and he had been arrested a couple of times over the past several weeks.
Wait, so the victim, Tyler Girth, was a photographer and a BLM sympathizer? Wow. Well, do you guys remember seeing the video of the college kids in their dorm like, yeah, you go, guys? And then all of a sudden, they're throwing shit through the windows like, hey, wait a minute, we're on your side. There is no side with this chaotic shit. The shooting took place at 9 p.m. following a peaceful morning and an afternoon at the park, which at one point was expected to be the site of counter-protests led by an armed patriot militia. Well, good thing, because you know what? It's time. Take your guns everywhere you go. This shit is lighting up. The cops aren't going to do nothing to protect you. You have to have protection yourself. He said, what were they, 4 minutes away? Or was it more than that? I forget. It was at least 4 minutes. That's crazy. They're never there to protect you when the shit goes down. Half the time when the shit's going down, they look the other way now.
Been repeatedly asked by other members in the park to leave due to his disruptive behavior. In addition to this man, multiple other people in the park were armed at the time of the incident, and our homicide investigators are still
plural.
working to identify all the parties who may have fired during the incident.
Over the past several nights, what we've seen is increasingly dangerous behavior. We've seen several fistfights, but we've also seen an increasing number of weapons, which gave us concern. But all that led up to last night's activity and last night's shooting. There have been no camping signs in the park
Yet there's tents.
since the beginning, far beyond the time the protest started. Yet we wanted to balance the First Amendment exercise of free speech, the need to be able to come together and demand change at the same time while understanding that
Yeah, it is kind of
ordinances-
curious what his motive was, and for some reason, it's not showing your chat on YouTube there, Quasar. I think they're censoring you a little bit about as they shoot themselves up, they blame white supremacy, you know, and the dreaded triple Ks that must not be allowed to be on YouTube. Sensitive people really shouldn't watch anything on this channel. LOL. I wish I was here. Hey, what's up, Jay Sparks? Thank you for checking in. Appreciate it as always. Oops, wrong thing.
in place for a reason, and it was specifically
All right,
to
I'm
help
kind of done
protect
with
public-
this one. Let's get on. This is the actual story that I read, and then I found that video. The suspect arrested in the shooting death of a man during a Louisville protest has taken part in demonstration, authorities and protesters said Sunday. The man, identified by an arrest citation as Stephen Nelson Lopez, was hospitalized and being interviewed by homicide investigators about the shooting that happened late Saturday. Interim Louisville Police Chief Robert Schroeder said at a news conference, Lopez was wounded in the leg by gunfire from bystanders at the park who were defending themselves. The arrest citation has been charged with murder and wanton endangerment. It could be a husband-wife team. I mean, me and the wife both carry, and we would both return fire really quickly. You're blacklisted, Quasar? I don't know. Most of your stuff gets out. It's just when you start talking, you know, with the triple Ks. 2K is okay, you know. Maybe 2K's in a space in a K, maybe. You could test that out. Tyler Charles Girth, 27, of Louisville, died after being shot at Jefferson Square Park in downtown Louisville, authorities said. The Courier-Journal reported that Girth was an avid photographer and a vocal supporter of the ongoing protest, whose godfather is a columnist at the newspaper. In a video of the shooting shown during the news conference, Lopez was surrounded by several people before shots were fired and people scrambled for cover. Another video posted on social media later showed at least one person bleeding profusely on the ground. Ooh. That one's probably being taken down quite fast. They like to shut that shit down quick. Several other people fired gunshots at the suspect. Several other people fired gunshots after the suspect began firing, but no one else was hit, Louisville Mayor Greg Fisher said. Interesting, huh? Jeez. I don't know. You guys believe in revelations? Oh, my goodness. So Facebook is also banning claims intended to discourage fraudulent voting. So Facebook is going after Trump. They're going to flag Trump's posts that break the platform's arbitrary rules. You want to get him really pissed off at social... That's another hotbed topic that's coming, right? You're trying to censor the President of the United States, whether you agree with him or not, and whether you think he's lying or not, right? There's many a times I think he's being loose with the truth. Like most presidents of all times, right? He's no different than any other president. But, I mean, you are making it too easy for him to be like, yep, we're shutting your asses down, or at least going to try. I don't know if they can. Could you even break up Google? I mean, I know they broke up General Electric and AT&T back in the day, right? But they didn't have the amount of knowledge and the amount of power and control that Facebook and Google have. I really think that if Google wanted to, they could take over this country in a way, right? Because they could just like, well, we got personal information on you, and you. You'll do what we want, or we'll release it. Your choice. Watch your six out there in the West, Sparks, and all of his supporters. Okay. So, Facebook said Friday that it will flag all newsworthy posts from politicians that break its rules, including those from Donald Trump. Separately, Facebook stock dropped more than 8%, erasing roughly $50 billion from its market valuation after Unilever announced it would boycott Facebook ads through the end of the year over the amount of hate speech and divisive rhetoric on its platform. I'm guessing, all the anti-Black Lives Matter. All lives matter. That's the racist rhetoric and divisive shit, probably, right? I would imagine. Later that day, Coca-Cola also announced it'll be joining the boycott for at least 30 days. So it's basically they're trying to force Facebook to take Trump off the air, pretty much. CEO Mark Zuckerberg had previously refused to take action against Trump's post that accurately claimed mail-in ballots will lead to voter fraud, saying that the people deserve to hear unfiltered statements from political leaders. Twitter, by contrast, slapped a "Get the Facts" label on them. Until Friday, Trump's posts with identical wording to those labeled on Twitter remained untouched on Facebook, sparking criticism from Trump's opponents as well as current and former Facebook employees. Now, Facebook is all but certain to face off with the president the next time he posts something the company deems to be violating its rules. The policies we're implementing today are designed to address the reality of the challenges our country is facing and how they're showing up across our community, Zuckerberg wrote on his Facebook page announcing the changes. Those corporations are in line with each other, Quasar, Bilderberg, CFR at work, and Zeus. What's up? The corporate flex, LOLs. So we have two more stories, although I didn't put the tag up for the last one. We'll get to that one in a second. So here we go. Intentions don't matter when it comes to terrorizing the public. This is the whole Bubba Wallace situation. When the Beatles sang Hey Jude, they urged mankind to take a sad song and make it better. The Bubba Wallace case finds liberals reversing these whispered words of wisdom. They took a better song and made it sad. 15 FBI agents rushed to Alabama's Talladega Superspeedway Monday to determine if a hate criminal placed a noose in the garage stall of NASCAR driver Bubba Wallace, the sport's only top-level black driver. Is there a bottom-level black driver? Is there even bottom-level drivers? I mean, I'm sure they have like a AAA version of what baseball does, but I don't know. The 15 G-man found that the rope of interest has opened and closed the garage door since last October. The FBI added, although the noose is now known to have been in the garage number 4 in 2019, nobody could have known Mr. Wallace would be assigned to the garage number 4 last week. Exactly. So somehow they were psychic and guessed that was the one he was going to be at. Rather than celebrate this racial false alarm, some leftists still call this racism. Of course they do. They have to. Can't be proven wrong. I mean, they're still trying with Jussie Smollett, right? ESPN host Jacoby declared via Twitter, I don't care what the FBI says. This is a noose and a hate crime. Wow. It was a news, sportscaster Jameel Hill wrote on Twitter. They just don't believe it was directed at Bubba Wallace. So the noose was aimed at a white driver? Question mark? I do not think that we've seen closure in this particular inquiry. Anthropologist? Oh my goodness, Al Sharpton. Al Sharpton's getting involved, told MSNBC, shifting his paranoia into fifth gear. He wondered, did someone know that it was in the stall when they did Belatry assign? Okay, so he's saying that they knew the noose was in the stall when they assigned Bubba that garage. Okay. If NASCAR really were driven by Caucasian racists, they smugly would have stayed quiet or perhaps instructed Wallace, take a hint, keep NASCAR white. The 180-degree opposite happened, though. Ballot of Bubba Wallace turned upbeat. As the organization NASCAR stood firmly behind Wallace, saying there is no place for racism in NASCAR, the group declared earlier this month it accepted Wallace's request and banned all Confederate flags from its events. That means the fans can't go there with a Confederate flag on their shirt or anything. And in a moving of display of anti-racism, hundreds of NASCAR drivers and crew members pushed Wallace's car down Talladega's track and marched behind it. This overwhelming show of solidarity came not with the supposed noosemaker, but with Bubba Wallace. Yeah, they were all virtue signaling because for some reason they bought this story. I mean, it smelled fishy from the get-go. What's up, Doomer? How you doing this evening? We're almost done. We only got one story left, and we're going to end it with a little bit of a light story. As soon as I can move this over. The quest for Jesus's foreskin. I don't know why, but Real Girl was reading this to me, and I found it kind of funny. While there are many relics attributed to Jesus surviving through more modern times, including famed 16th century Catholic priest Erasmus, pointing out that the large number of buildings that could be built using all pieces of Jesus' cross that were then around, unlike some other figures in the history of, what is that word? Christium? Relics of Jesus' bodies itself aren't really a thing. This is, of course, because he and his body ascended to heaven, and apparently nobody thought to collect a holy fingernail clipping or cuttings of his luscious locks and magnificent beard. However, there is one cutting from his body that did purportedly survived through the ages, a piece of his manhood. In fact, this snippet of his member was revered through much of Christian history and even prayed to. Oh man, no. Including a feast day, January 1st, where towns that had one would cart it out and celebrate. That is, before the Catholic Church decided maybe they wanted to rethink this particular relic in the early 20th century, even went so far as to ban any mention of the Holy Foreskin, despite that it apparently still existed at the time of in Calcutta. Wait a minute. It talks here, it says, where towns, plural, that had one. How many foreskins did Jesus have?
Well, I mean, he could have as many as he wanted, I'm sure.
I mean, I know the fish story, right? Where he's giving out thousands of fish.
Yeah.
Did he just give out thousands of foreskins? I don't know. That's weird. As to the first mention of the survival of Jesus' foreskin, this comes to us thanks to Syriac infancy gospel, where it states, and when the time of his circumcision was come, namely the 8th day on which the law commanded the child to be circumcised, they circumcised him in a cave. And the old Hebrew woman took the foreskin and preserved it in an alabaster box of old oil and spikenard. And she had a son who was a druggist, who she said, take ye thou, sell not this alabaster box of spikenard ointment, although thou shalt be offered 300 pence for it. Okay. So there you go. A little light news for the end of the stream. Jesus' foreskin. People prayed to it. I mean, I know getting down on your knees. Oh, I'm going to go to hell. Alright guys, that's all I got for you. Once again, there's links in the description. One is to the song that plays before this whole video starts up. Another one is to Rally Point Irish. My friend Irish USMC vet is trying to get together a place for veterans to come together and learn new trades like blacksmithing and farming, and all going to be rent-free or living-free, basically paying with their labor. Then there's ProjectRecover.org, which is a nonprofit who search for missing service members and returns them home to their families, and they do like deep sea dives and stuff like that. All great links to check out if you're interested in that. If you like the video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you dislike the video, go ahead and give it a thumbs down. I do this pretty much every weekday night at 10 p.m. That was 54 minutes ago from the moment I'm talking right now. It'll also show at the end of the screen as well. So definitely check us out, as we'll always try to bring you the latest news of the day and our takes on it, and have a good conversation. Anyway, that's all I got for you guys. If you enjoy this kind of content, also check out Irish USMC Vet. Sometimes we do the morning muster. This evening we did the evening muster because of reasons. So you kind of have to ring the bell with him. If you're subscribed to Irish, ring his bell. If you're subscribed to me, I try to be a little bit more consistent with the live uploads anyway. Anyway, make sure you keep your family close. Watch out for the government. Carry your weapon everywhere you go, whether they have a no-gun policy or not. Now, that's my advice, right? You're going to have to face your own consequences with that. But I will not be disarmed. The only place that I go disarmed is when I'm going into the doctor's office and I know I have to disrobe. That's the only time. And usually the wife has got something in her purse at that time. So anyway, that's all I got for you. Thank you very much for joining us. We will see you tomorrow. Peace. Live free as much as you can.